Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Chase, and I haven't done a live in a very, very long time. So I figured, why not? Let's do it live. Let's mix things up a bit. You don't want 7 or 8 of these reviews because that would just be nonsense on my page. So I'm just going to give you one full live video of all the stuff that I'm going to be talking about. I just thought it'd be a little bit more fun that way, and plus, you get to see me just kind of rip everything. So why not? So welcome everyone once again to my Fantastic Fest 2022 coverage. I got to do the online one. I've attended the festival in the past, and so I was looking forward to this, just doing it virtually. And so I went in 2015. I thought it was a blast. I need to go again sometime, but for right now, the online one is just as good, and so I didn't mind doing that. Now, the thing is with the online stuff is that you don't get access to all the films. So I did not get to see, some of the bigger ones that were featured at Fantastic Fest. Didn't get to see any of the kind of surprise screenings. So I just saw a bunch of kind of smaller films, ones I've kind of heard about. Did like a mix. Did some documentaries, did some foreign films, did some films here. So I thought it was a nice little kind of spread. But let's not waste any time. And let's go ahead and talk about my experience doing the virtual one for Fantastic Fest. First of all, Fantastic Fest is my favorite film festival. I like, the Dallas one for sure, and I would like to go to some of the bigger ones in the future. But for right now, right now, the Fantastic Fest genres, horror, sci-fi, action, comedy, I love it all. And so, I like the overall selection of films, and so it was really kind of hard for me to whittle it down. There were so many I didn't even get to, and I do have access to some of these films for a few more days, but I just don't have time. So I saw as much as I could on the weekend, and so I can report back to you guys. But yeah, and as I'm doing this, if you guys want to pop in the live chat, I can answer any questions that you guys might have. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this started. So I saw 7 films, and you're probably thinking to yourself, like, that's it, just 7? Typically, when I go to film festivals, I can go anywhere from 8 to 12 films before I tap out. And when I'm at home, I get very antsy and stuff. I can't do a lot back to back. So 7 is pretty good. I try to get to 8. Was just one short. I tried to watch one, but the subtitles weren't there, so I couldn't. I couldn't watch it, but I really wanted to, and so I selected 7 of them, and so this is what you're going to get. I'm not going to make this video too long, but I wanted to do it live because, like I said, just do something different. And plus, if you guys like the live and everything, please comment down below. That'd be great. Oh, and before I begin, this video, as usual, is sponsored by Movie Palette. Please check out my discount code down below and get yourself on that. It is a great product to have in your home, especially if you're a movie lover. And it's just something kind of different from the normal movie poster. So I saw 7 films, like I said. The first film that I saw was A Life on the Farm. And this one's a documentary, and it goes as follows. A strange story from Somerset, England, about a filmmaking farmer and the inspiring legacy of his long-lost home movies. So there was this farmer who basically recorded everything to a point where he also recorded, like, his deceased parents and, like, would record them for a few days after they passed, just like, look at mom. She's on the farm next to the cow. And it's just like, it's very, very whimsical and like sincere, but like, it's just really kind of weird and creepy at the same time. But this man's life, he recorded everything. He had this kind of interesting quality about him because it wasn't just like have the camera pointing at a cow or whatever, point, click, shoot, and done. No, this guy would have like narration over his footage. He would have, interesting kind of effects, and they were all practical, and it made them really just kind of lively and just kind of it showed a little bit of his personality, and so I really liked just kind of how everything was presented in the film. Just excuse me, this is what happens when you do stuff live. Good stuff. Anyways, so yeah, his personality like shined all the way through the film, and I really thought it added a lot to it. But like I said, also he was kind of weird in how he recorded like some of his parents and like just I think his cat at one point. So they were very bizarre home movies for sure. But I think deep because I was waiting for something like sinister, right? Because I'm just a very morbid person. But deep down, that man was just he was just a guy enjoying his life. He was just someone that uh, really enjoyed what he did, enjoyed his land, enjoyed his farm, enjoyed his family, and so I really I liked it. It's a good little documentary. It's weird, it's offbeat, and it's perfect for Fantastic Fest. So that was the first one I saw. The second one I saw, going all the way to Japan for this one. So Bad City. This one, like I said, it was my first foreign film. I love Japanese cinema, so I was super excited for this one. This was an action. And this one goes as follows. Keiko City is plagued with poverty and crime when a corrupt businessman decides to run for mayor and starts eliminating opponents from the rival mafia. A former police captain serving time for murder is secretly released and put in charge of a special task force to arrest him. Sounds pretty cool, right? And listen, I love me some Japanese cinema, whether it be action films, horror films, romance films. I think I've seen it all from Japan. I don't think I've seen a straight up comedy before, but a lot of horror movies that I've seen from Japan have comedy elements. So I was looking forward to this one. The description sounded really cool, so I was like, "Hey, why not?" So it was honestly, it was probably my least favorite one of the bunch here. The thing is with the story and like the corrupt businessman and the mayor and all that stuff, like that stuff is intriguing, but it got boring very, very quickly, and it just really it lost me after a while. I think also had to do with that was we had this wonderful kind of atmosphere set up with this city, and you could have easily like turned into like a Blade Runner, or like this just I don't know, just have the city have some personality or something, but it just looked like a normal city. And everything, most scenes were like shot with like super bright lights, and so it didn't really have any like texture to the scenes. It was just it looked very flat, and it didn't have like any personality to it. Didn't have any uniqueness to the overall story and just how the characters are. So it was kind of flat, and the action sequences were also kind of just average. And I'm like, I expected more. Like I expected this to be one of the best ones out of everything I've seen. But Bad City to me just seemed like a very like straight to DVD action film that could have been great just from the way it was described. And so yeah, I for Bad City I was super disappointed. But you know what? I'm still gonna watch Japanese films. I absolutely love all of them. So yeah, so I was looking forward to that one quite a bit, but I just didn't really hit for me. The third film I watched, this one was interesting. It was called Country Gold. It's like a dark comedy. It was labeled as a dark comedy and a fantasy. And this one's about George Jones invites an up-and-coming country music star out on the town in Nashville the night before George is chronologically frozen in 1994. This one is in black and white, and it kind of reminded me of, kind of like a mix of like Walk Hard and the Coen brothers. Like I know they did like the Inside of Llewyn Davis as like kind of their musical biopic type movie, but yeah, this was like it was definitely along the lines of like if the Coen brothers made Walk Hard. This has some comedic moments to it for sure. It's very goofy, very tongue-in-cheek, very self-aware. But at its core, it's also a really great story about a country music star that has the legacy to build upon his career and become one of the greats. And so he, gets in touch to one of his idols, and his idol is just kind of lost. And his idol has a lot of regrets and, is very jealous of this new up-and-coming singer because he misses the glory days, and he really wishes he could be back in that time. But as we all know, time is just an absolute demon to all of us, and it catches up to us. And so there was a lot of great character work and a great dramatic depth between these two characters and their different perspectives and their different eras. And so I kind of liked it. I thought the comedy worked. It was a bit jarring at first because it was trying to meld so hard with the drama, but as it kind of got its footing, and its beautiful kind of white and black and white cinematography, I really started to appreciate the story as it is, and I love the overall tone and just the look to it. It fits so perfectly well, and like I said, when it was funny, and when it actually had some heartfelt moments, it really was effective, and it all had to do with the performances kind of balancing both, and the director also balancing both tones. So yeah, so it's in black and white. Imagine, like I said, if the Coen brothers directed Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, and I think you got your movie. So if that's something that interests you, check out Country Gold. The next one I saw is Deep Fear. Now this is my other foreign film. This one comes all the way from France. And so what is this one about? Paris, the 80s. 3 students decide to celebrate their graduation with a visit of Paris catacombs. When they discovered the legendary 717 bunker, little do they know it's not the only thing Nazi soldiers have left behind. It sounds ridiculous, and I totally get that. But for me, this one was also just okay. Usually horror films and like the catacombs and stuff work really well for me because I, for one, am claustrophobic. So anything that's set in like caves or the catacombs or anything in like tight spaces like that, I hate it. Absolutely hate it, but I also love it. The Descent is one of my favorites of all time. I even like that one that was also in the catacombs, as above, so below, so above, far below. I forget what the title was, but I really like that one too. It's kind of creepy and unnerving. But for this one, it's got some of the tropes that you see with like, close quarters, going down the hallway, monster chasing you, all that stuff. I thought it had like definitely like some atmosphere to it. There was definitely some creepy shots that really kind of got me. And the ending of the film with like the reveal of like what was actually chasing them, some great makeup work. I really like that. It's gory. It's exciting in some parts. The 3 friends have great camaraderie and great chemistry. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say anything about Nazis. It doesn't say anything about France or the catacombs. It's literally just setting and people from our non-fictional world, and just kind of placed in there. So if you like horror films, if you like films that are kind of like set in caves or like kind of close quarters, I think you'll like this one. The whole movie kind of takes place down in the catacombs. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's not really anything that like jumped out at me and was like, oh wow, this is actually like fantastic. It was just one of those films where I was like, yeah, it was fine. It had its moments, and definitely a great reveal at the end with some makeup on said creature. So yeah, Deep Fear. If you like those films, go check it out. So now we're back to possibly, no, I'd say it's my second favorite film I saw out of the bunch. Back in 2011, or was it 2010? Either way, there was a film that came out. And I was in college at the time, so I think my friends and I watched it in our student housing apartment. Birdemic. Shock and Terror. It is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. However, one of the funniest films I've ever seen on top of that. The thing with the Birdemic film, the first one, I don't think the director knew that he was making that type of movie. I think he just very passionate, wanted to make a movie, and it was edited to garbage. The performances are atrocious. The sound design is even worse. The color correction is just off, even within the same scene. It was incredible. It was like watching the most beautiful car wreck I've ever seen in my life. And I truly think that those films hold a special place in society, whether it be the Troll 2s or the Birdemics. Those films are they're so enjoyable. I firmly believe that the phrase "it's so bad it's good," because every decision that was made on that film, awful. But it's great watch. There are 2 sequels. One came out in 2013. Didn't know about that. And 9 years later, in 2022, Birdemic 3, Sea Eagle. Or is it The Sea Eagle? Let me check it. Sea Eagle. This was the 5th film I saw. I loved it. First of all, everything about it reminds me of the first one. It's all bad. It's objectively bad as a film. But subjectively, I love it to pieces. I haven't laughed that hard in so long, and I needed a good laugh. Are the performances bad? Absolutely. Paper stale paper, just like line delivery. It just it's really rough to watch, but just also really entertaining. The color correction is also off within the same scene. Some shots are brighter than others, some are darker than others. The effects are also really bad. The birds are the same from when they were 12 years ago, which is awesome. If you've seen the first Birdemic, just know that this is no different story-wise. It's all about climate change. It's all about that. The only difference is this is in HD. So the awfulness is just upgraded quality-wise in terms of, HD or not. So, but my question was, after I got done watching it, is James Wynn, the director, is he intentionally doing this now? Because when you watch the first one, you're like, okay, this is just a guy making a movie. Yeah, it's bad, but like he's getting some fame out of it, and God bless him, he's getting his coin, right? Makes a sequel, he's capitalizing on it. With this one, I firmly believe he knows what he's doing now. He knows he's making a bad movie, and he's just trolling us at this point. He has to be. There's a couple of scenes where they're out in public, and these people around the actors, they are just enjoying their day, enjoying their time or whatever, and they're just making a movie in the middle of all this, and they're like confused, and like the actors are so like dead set on like what they're. It's incredible commitment, and I applaud everyone that worked on it. But it makes me feel like they know what they're doing now. But at the same time, if they know that they're giving us poop on a screen, then it's one of the best crafted bad movies I've ever seen. Because every scene is intentionally cut weird and super awkward. The lighting and color, all off. The acting is actually worse. It's truly intentionally like you will deliver your line as dry as possible. So I don't know if the director has intentions now to like actually play into it, or if he's actually like still making it. But either way, it's such a joy to watch. So Birdemic 3, I cannot believe there's 3 of these things now. Well, Sharknado has made like 800 of them, so I guess 3 is not that bad. But yeah, Birdemic 3, Seagull, fun time. Probably my second favorite, and my favorite one. And I still got one more after this, but my favorite one is Lynch/Oz. This is a documentary showcasing how David Lynch incorporates the Wizard of Oz in all of his projects, because that's one of, if not his favorite movie of all time. This was a fascinating documentary because I'm a huge fan of David Lynch. I like surreal films. I like films that don't tell you anything and you kind of interpret it to your own liking. I like that stuff. But I never had it in my head that like, since he loves Wizard of Oz, all this stuff is going to be Wizard of Oz, like adjacent, or like there's going to be specific references and everything. That was really cool. Like they even dissected the Wizard of Oz and they're like, well, here's the cultural impact of like what this movie is, and here's how the scenes, and here's how David Lynch like applies these to his scenes, and like look at the correlation. It's like it's pretty damning that it's like eerily similar in some of the cases, and I just never picked up on that. So this was just a wonderful little documentary, just showcasing the incredibly confusing mind sometimes of David Lynch and like just how he works. And so seeing it from his perspective and told through a bunch of filmmakers and respected like reporters and everything, and just showcasing like a little bit more into David Lynch's mind, and I think that is a gift because that man's mind, it will never be, um, you know, we'll never figure out like what's truly in there, but you know, this film kind of helps out a bit. But yeah, really interesting to kind of pair his filmography with the Wizard of Oz and all that. And I thought it was fascinating just for me personally because I'm a huge Lynch fan. So there you go. And the last film that I saw for Fantastic Fest 2022, Unidentified Objects. Now this one's like a comedy, drama, kind of sci-fi. It's a road trip movie. And this is what the IMDb says. An uptight little person and his free-spirited, alien-obsessed neighbor hit the road on a border-defying search for their place in the universe. So definitely a lot of, aliens that might be lurking around, and, his neighbor is trying to figure this out. Well, at the same time, they both kind of get viewed upon by society in very an off-putting light, and, they're still trying to figure out their place in the world and everything. So I kind of like this one a little bit more than some of the ones on this list. It's a great little road trip movie. I think the performances are really what take it home for me. The person that plays the little person, Matthew Jeffers, he was great. What a ball of energy he is. Like I don't think I've ever seen him in anything. So I really liked his personality shines throughout this because he's very like aggressive. He hates everyone. And then just to see him kind of break down and see like he is a gay little person who's just trying to make it in this world, and he's being thrown into this crazy road trip with someone he doesn't even like and barely knows. And this person is so good for him because she brings out the best in him and really makes him as human as possible to where we get to understand how he is and like what his thoughts are. And it was a really kind of beautiful friendship that they were forming. And then Sarah Hay, who plays the neighbor, she's also looked at in society because she does, I think she said she did sex work. And so, not a lot of people look upon that kindly. And so they both kind of have something that they can bond with over together. Is just, people look at them differently when they're just normal, beautiful people. And I really liked her conversations that she had with him about all that. And just, it was a beautiful friendship. And with all that science fiction backdrop, kind of road trip movie, it makes it for a unique film. And I really liked the science fiction elements to it. It really kind of brought this like unnerving horror to it. Really kind of creepy stuff. There was one, because Matthew Jeffers has a lot of dream sequences in this film. He likes to kind of fantasize about things that could happen and things that might happen in the future. And so, let me retract that. He has like fantasies of like situations that are happening right now, and then he'll fall asleep having situations that his neighbor keeps feeding him with the aliens. That was what I was kind of saying. Welcome to Live, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, yeah, I really liked one of the dream sequences where they're in a car and the police pulled them over. That's all I'll say. It creeped me out because the camera would not cut. Well, it did cut, but you couldn't see anything from the other end. And you're like, oh, that's not police, man. That's someone else. That part was kind of creepy because I'm like, yeah, if I was in New Mexico, like driving around Area 51 and I saw something like that, I would poop my pants and just run away. So. But yeah, that was a really effective sequence to kind of just really inject some suspense amongst this kind of road trip comedy or dramedy. That's probably a better way to describe it. But anyways, yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting little movie. I thought it ended way too quickly. I was like, I kind of wanted more, but then again, all the character arcs kind of wrapped up, and the ending of the film is more hopeful for Matthew Jeffers' character. So. Yeah, it's not, like I said, one of my favorites, but I like it a little bit more than some of the others. So, yeah, those were the 7 films that I checked out at Fantastic Fest online at the at-home version. But maybe one of these years I'll get to go into visit it in person. But wasn't this year. Maybe soon because I like attending these things in person. But for doing the online thing, thank you, Alamo Draft House and Farns PR for allowing me to do this and allow creators like myself to view these things from home. So really, really appreciate you guys. But yeah, so that's my coverage of the Fantastic Film Festival of this year. That's all the films I'm going to be watching. Didn't get to see any of the big ones. I really wanted to see Bones and All and The Menu, Terrifier 2, I believe. And so, yeah, I had a fun time just doing the virtual one. So can't wait for many years of this. And did you guys like the live? Let me know down below. And what do you guys think of all these films? If you've heard of any of them, please let me know. I just decided to do this because that would be a little bit more effective than doing 7 different reviews and just piling them on you guys. So you can just get one little video here. So so let me know all down below about everything I talked about. You guys are awesome. Thank you to our sponsor, Movie Palette, for sponsoring this video. Please check them out. Link in below for my discount code so you can get 15% off your order when you order anything off their website. And that will do it for this live/video. I am Chase Lee, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.